Rice is nice. It is delicious. It cooks faster and feeds large groups well. Rice consumption is increasing as its demand outstrips that of wheat and maize. Over 80% of the rice grown in Kenya is grown in rice paddies. But rice grown in flooded paddies uses too much water and has low yields. System of Rice Intensification (SRI) is a set of practices which uses less water and increases yields. SRI is not a type of rice. It is a method that was developed in Madagascar in the 1980s. Professor Norman Uphoff of Cornell University brought SRI to the rest of the world. SRI has been introduced in many countries such as India and Rwanda. Professor Bancy Mati of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, introduced SRI in Kenya in 2009 at the Mwea Irrigation Scheme. System of Rice Intensification has 7 basic components. Prepare a dry nursery. Transplant younger seedlings. Plant only one seedling. Transplant at wider spacing in a square pattern. Intermittent wetting and drying of paddy. Mechanical weeding, and use of organic manures. This is done as follows. The paddy field is first soaked for at least 5 days. The field is plowed to break the soil crust. The field is then harrowed. If possible, carbonated husks are prepared using a special kiln to enrich the nursery bed, as explained by Mr. Muya.
Inakaa kama ile ya the lime kiln. So process ya kwanza unatumia hii bana, unaiweka kwa started kidogo, unatumia the dry matter ya majani rice screws, ingiza huko ndani. Kisha moto, kisha unaisimamisha. Make sure that you cover every hole. If you cover, you can add even up to this much depending with the amount of the husk that you have. So ikichomeka, you start seeing the black or the brown color which starts appearing from the top ikiwa inaelekea pande ya chini. So after this, unatoa hii kitu yako pa hii kitu unatoa, alafu unatumia the shovel, jiko kubwa na maji na water can kuchoma kupima hiyo moto. Now this one is the one we are going to use to demonstrate how ikiwekwa kwa shamba ina decompose haraka na tena inatumika kama manure. So this is what we are expecting.
The nursery bed is then prepared. Pre-germinated seeds are then spread over the nursery bed.
Like this, and then you moist. This will help because the major challenge which has been there is plucking of the young seedlings about 8 to 10 days. So when you place them in a carbonized husk like this, it will be very easy for you to pluck them without destroying the roots, and even destroying the roots or the seeds on the crop.
SRI seedlings are raised in an unflooded nursery which is supplied with moisture. At 8 to 12 days old, SRI seedlings are ready for transplanting. Under the conventional system, seedlings are transplanted when they are 21 to 30 days old and in clumps of 3 to 5 seedlings per hole. Under SRI, transplanting is done at wider spacing. Under conventional paddy, weeding is by hand, which is tiresome. But under SRI, weeding is done using a mechanical weeder and is more efficient. In conventional systems, the paddy field is flooded throughout the growing season. But under SRI, alternate wetting and drying of the paddy field is practiced. 2 weeks before harvesting, the paddy is drained to dry out before harvesting. The harvesting and threshing of SRI paddy is done in the normal way. To achieve higher yields from the ratoon, lock-lodge rice rationing can be practiced. This involves bending the remnant stems and stepping on them like this. System of rice intensification has many advantages. In the field, it shows superior crop performance.
This is a paddy field of rice grown through the SRI method. Those who know about rice may tell you that these grains, they are called panicles. They are more full. They will tell you what we call productive tillers. Rice has tillers, which are those blades which go up. Each tiller produces some rice, but under SRI the productive tillers are more.
It also increases rice yields of paddy rice.
Farmers to adopt this system is actually due to the high production of the crop and the good quality of the production. Through conventional way, farmers mostly get at an average 25 bags, weighing at around 80 to 85 kg per bag. But through this SRI, we have seen farmers improving their production even up to 50%.
Right now we are still encouraging farmers to really embrace the system, because if all farmers are going to embrace the system, we are going to see a decrease in water utilization, which may help in expansion of this scheme.
SRI produced better quality grain, as explained by rice millers.
The rice which is here now, the one that we have here, is better than the other. One, it is clean, it is well polished, it has long grains, and it is heavier. So when the farmer is selling, he's up, because one penny bag of the SRI variety is weighing about 100 kgs, while the other traditional one is about 90 kgs. And therefore, the farmer is getting a lot of money from the SRI method. So if we have intensification, so that more farmers can be encouraged to use that method, we shall be able to completely transform this place and make it very economically good for all the customers and farmers who are using that method.
In Western Kenya, millers appreciate the System of Rice Intensification.
Is a subsidiary of Lake Basin Development Authority, which is a state corporation. We are rice millers. Basically, we provide a market for the rice farmers in the Kenyan side of the Lake Victoria Basin. So it is therefore our desire that the issue of yields are extremely addressed and urgently addressed, so that farmers can get better yields, which will translate into more income for them, and we can, as buyers, we can negotiate reasonable prices for their paddy.
Another advantage is that it uses less seeds.
Don't have a lot of seeds. Conventionally, farmers have been using about 25 kilograms for 1 acre, but through SRI, 3 kilos to 5 kilos right now.
It also saves on the cost of labor.
Because when you use the rotary weeder, you find that you cannot use even more than 1,000. But for weeding here, it's about 4,000 to 5,000 manual. So we have found to SRI from the seed or transplanting to harvesting, it is very economical.
However, System of Rice Intensification also has some challenges, such as weeds can be a menace. Some water birds destroy SRI seedlings. There is also skepticism by some farmers. Research and capacity building for SRI has been implemented.
The System of Rice Intensification, SRI, was started in Kenya as a project in 2009. It was a multi-stakeholder partnership bringing together Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, National Irrigation Board, Ministry of Water and Irrigation, and a few other partners like World Bank, and help in form of information from Cornell University. From very humble beginnings with 2 farmer adopters and the earliest research, which was to validate SRI. We started it in a 3-pronged approach, which combined scientific research, extension, and capacity building, as well as outreach programs. On research, so far we have built the capacity of 4 masters level and 1 PhD through SRI, who have done SRI work. Some of the more interesting outputs of that SRI is first proving that SRI actually does increase yields and save water through the research done. Another one is we tested the effect of SRI on malaria, more specifically on mosquito breeding. And we conclusively found that because of the wetting and drying the paddy, SRI reduces mosquito survival. It actually eliminates completely the mosquito larvae once the paddy has been dried for more than 2 days. Then another thing we have done is to promote SRI so that it's adopted widely. This one, we call it outreach. We have implemented very many field days for farmers. Field days are quite cost effective because the farmers walk to one particular field, preferably one where an SRI field is where there is SRI field. Then we teach them there on the street side. They do a practical as we do the SRI. We also have implemented another thing we call open day. An open day is bigger than a field day. We invite speakers, we invite policymakers, we invite press, and then we have many people. We even bring people who are from far by a vehicle, and we train a larger group. We have implemented advertisements, mostly in local language, in the local press, and also we have done SMS messaging. We develop an SMS message which tells people about SRI, particularly farmers, and send it to very many farmers. And another innovative way was to use video conferencing.
Mwea Irrigation Agricultural Development, MIAD, has hosted SRI research activities.
National Irrigation Board, which was developed as a technical cooperation between the government of Japan and the government of Kenya. And its program started in 1991 as a continuation of the research work which was going on in at NIB through what used to be called Mwea Irrigation Research Station. The institution is charged with research programs, mainly directed towards irrigated agriculture, and also training together with a main area or factor of seed production, mainly production of rice seed. Most of the seed that's been grown in the country have come from those institutions. This is seeds of irrigated rice and seeds of Nerica, that is new rice for Africa. Due to the capacity of the institution, we have strengthened the area of collaboration with other research and academic institutions to be able to address all the areas that would foster or that would enhance food production for food security in the country. So this is how then we were able to link with other institutions for the program of System of Rice Intensification, that is SRI. So SRI works, and it is the future for improvement of food security in the country through the use of a very important grain called rice.
Mwea Irrigation Scheme pioneered SRI.
So, as a scheme, we are very grateful for the efforts that have been put in, because we know at the end of the day it will end up in increasing our production and reducing our challenges of water shortage. Because indeed, as you know, one of the main advantages of SRI is that you don't have to have the crop and the water during all the period. So with that, we are able to have intermittent flooding and drying. And when we release the water, that water can be used by other farmers elsewhere. So we are only appealing that this program can be enhanced and be upscaled, so that at the end of the day we can have the entire scheme adopting this as a system and even be extended to other schemes.
The System of Rice Intensification has been extended to Western Kenya.
Official SRI program in the year 2011 at the start of our global program, and because it was still new, we engaged our farmers in capacity building and also exchange visits where, and at the end of the program of the year 2011, we were able to have got at least practitioners within the 3 irrigation projects, that's Ahero, West Kano and Bunyala.
In Bunyala, farmers have adopted SRI.
Systems of rice intensification, and this has been seen in terms of expansion of SRI programs in this region. We have a great future in Bunyala. We are currently 2,000 acres, but in the next 2 years, under the development programs that are ongoing, we will have more than 4,000 acres under rice, which we want to bring these new farmers on board to practice SRI because of the water saving techniques and also minimal inputs, and because of the rising demand of rice, we want farmers to produce more rice.
In West Kano, SRI has improved rice production.
For varieties like IR, we used to have to get around 25 bags per acre, but today we have farmers who have gone up to 39 bags per acre. At the same time, for Basmati, which is low yielding here, we used to get 15, but now at least I'm getting farmers who are getting around 20-25.
Farmers appreciate the many benefits of adopting SRI.
Na hii mambo ya SRI amefanyia mimi mengi. Kama nilikuja kwa SRI last year, iko samba yangu moja nilipatia mimi 35, samba yangu moja nilipatia 30. So the one who did the worst was 25. So nilikuta kama hii system ya SRI ni mzuri kusinda anything. So I'm saying I'm a SRI damu.
SRI ya kwanza kwangu nilipata gunia 32. Tena nilipanda kama mbegu isakuwa na siku 18. Na hii ya leo hii nilipanda kama mbegu ilikuwa na siku 12. Tena nina furaha sana nikiona hivi vile inaendelea. Hii kilimo ya SRI ndio kilimo changu sasa. Sitarudi nyuma. kwa maana ninajua kenye tunafanya.
The National Irrigation Board, NIB, also supports SRI, as the General Manager explains.
National Irrigation Board produces almost 90% of the rice produced in this country. Of course, the 10% is produced by other producers who include smallholders and the Ministry of Regional Development in its few irrigation schemes. Now, the production of rice includes use of a lot of water. And Kenya basically is a water scarce country. And therefore, we have been looking at, and we're looking at ways of using less water but producing more. There's such a sale going on in other fields, but we view SRI, which has been adopted in other countries, as one of the best methods of reducing the water used and producing more. And therefore, when this concept was proposed to us by Jomo Kenyatta University, we decided to adopt it and to fully support it and embrace it. We intend that all farmers in the next about 5 years, which is in the near future, should have adopted the SRI. This will reduce the amount of water and therefore make it available to other farmers for use in other ways.
Ikamaliza 10 days ikapalilia mara ya pili, isipokuwa na changamoto ambayo tulikuwa nayo ya watu
na msimamishe